Welcome to the Reno Ring, real talk, real trade, real profit. This is the place where we pull back the drywall and look at the framing of real live businesses. All right, we are here today with Dmitry Perstin from Bedrock Basements in Aurora, servicing the GTA and Simcoe. And we know that everyone talks about the finished kitchen on Instagram or sees it, but nobody talks about the absolute chaos of managing crews and the stress of the yo-yo months where you're wondering where your next lead is going to come from. Dmitry has been a home remodeler for 6 years, since 2020. What a time to start. And actually figured out a way to be the new kid on the block and go after big projects with absolutely no proof. I am your host, Karen, the girl on fire. I run a suite of business growth companies bridging the gap between old school sales strategies, grit, and new school AI automation, our kit. I started my first company when I was 12. I've won over dozens of different awards, and I've shared stages with Tony Robbins, Les Brown, and Jack Canfield. And right now, I'm focused on helping founders 2x their revenue for 100 business owners using my Family Feud style strategy. This episode is sponsored by Momentum with AI, helping businesses improve operations by installing AI agents. So let's dive into it. What inspired you to start your business?
Well, like you said, the year was around 2020, so it was in the height of COVID. Everybody was staying at home, and home prices were rising, interest rates were low, so a lot of people were investing in renovations. I was already in the space, so I was working for another renovation company as a salesperson and a designer, and I did see a huge surge of demand. And I've always wanted to go on my own, and I thought this was the perfect time to seize that opportunity. And because I already was familiar with the business, with the trades, I knew how to do the sales, how to handle the design. So uh, that was it. It was just perfect timing, I think.
Awesome, awesome. And I think I actually didn't say from Bedrock Basements. So how did you come up with your business name or brand?
So I focus on basements. What we do is we do everything from framing all the way to painting, including electrical, flooring, everything to do with basements. I wanted the word basements in the name of the company just for reasons and marketing. And then Bedrock, we wanted a name. My wife and I were talking about coming up with names. So she mentioned something called alliteration, where the two word businesses will have both words starting with the same letter, like Coca Cola, PayPal, Best Buy, Dunkin' Donuts. So I was thinking one word started with the letter B, and yeah, Bedrock came to mind because, well, you dig down to the bedrock; it's the foundation. That's the name I came up with. A lot of folks bring up the Flintstones when they think of it, but sure, I'll take it.
It's great. We all love the Flintstones. What's not to love
Yeah.
about that? So,
It's
yeah,
a
I
certain
love that.
generation of people, younger folks. If you're like under 30, they have no idea.
No idea. Yeah, that wasn't a lunchtime special. I got it. Yeah.
For sure.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that you, for all those guys out there, that you listen to your wife. I don't want to get into it, but that's great. All right. So how did you get your very first customer and how are things different now?
Yeah. So when I decided to go on my own, so 2020, we're also pregnant with our first baby, and so there's obviously a lot of financial pressures, and I was really scared to kind of jump off the ship of working for somebody. But I decided to kind of maybe try and get one or two clients while I was still working, and that's what I did. It was basically just word of mouth, where a trade that I work with, I believe, a client of theirs asked for somebody that can design a basement for them and like to do the 3D renderings. They didn't want a full basement renovation at the time, so I came out, I did the design, and I pitched myself as a contractor to do the basement. And luckily, they called me back, and I ran to incorporate the company, and the rest is history. That's how
That's
it kind of
awesome.
that's how I landed my first client, and it kind of becomes addictive after that.
Right. So how are things different now?
Well, now, I obviously I can't go one project at a time. We have to keep a certain volume going. So there's a lot more emphasis on marketing, on using things like Google and ChatGPT to make sure you rank. There's money being spent on websites. Although I do love word of mouth referrals. Those are really great clients. But as the company grows, you have to go outside of that network to get new clients.
All right. Every contractor asks me this. How do you get more clients? Like, so how are you getting them now?
Yeah, I'd
Every
like to
every
know
guy wants
the
to know, how do I get booked? How do I stay booked? That's like the number one question, right?
yeah. So you try different things. So I think still like a website is very important, especially in a business where a lot of it is visual. So I don't think it applies to all trades. Like, if you compare what I do with roofers or plumbers or anything like that, that's not maybe as visual as doing a full renovation. So luckily for me, things like before and afters are very easy because you come in, this is an unfinished basement, this is a finished basement. So there's a big transformation there. But Google Ads, I prefer organic Google results. Maps, make sure you're ranking higher in the map pack in your local area. Social media is huge nowadays, so I do try to post a lot on TikTok, on Instagram, and I do see some results from that. I find that the leads that come in from Meta and TikTok are not as qualified as the ones from directly from Google, because those are passive leads. They're scrolling and then they see my TikTok or my ad. Whereas with Google, they're intentionally looking for a contractor. So those folks are closer to the buying point than the ones that come from social media, because this is a high ticket item. When we're doing talking about basements, it's tens of thousands of dollars. So it's not it's a important decision. So people do plan this ahead of time. It's like buying a car or buying a house. So it is a longer sales cycle for sure.
Right, right. I think what you're talking about I'm not sure this is really taught in the remodel industry. When I got into marketing, because I had my own business for 25 years, local as well, and I sold home improvements on the side, whole different story why. But I think what I learned when I dove deep into marketing starting in 2016, it's been like 10 years now of like literally reading and everything that I could and every possible type of marketing and every possible trade out there is like the buying cycle that you go through. So there's like four stages: attention, interest, desire, action. And what you were talking about for the guys watching is that meta ads usually reaches what they call top of funnel, which
Yeah.
is the attention piece. And it's just the same process you go through, like, say you're going to buy a new truck, right? So first you're like, okay, I'm doom scrolling through Facebook. Oh, there's a fancy new truck with, like, I don't know, jacked up with, I don't know, whatever you like. And then you have to attention, interest, you have to be interested in getting a new truck. Then you have to move to desire, and then you have to move to action. And that's when people actually go to Google and type it in. The problem with that is that there's not a lot of volume at the bottom. So you guys are fighting over the bids, right? And
Exactly.
you got to fight on price. But at the top of funnel, which most guys say like meta ads are garbage, but they're just doing lead forms. And anyway, that hurts your conversions. And they just don't understand that they're at the top of the cycle, so they have to nurture them. So then people don't follow up like sales guys follow up maybe once, maybe twice. Maybe I actually met a guy the other day who said he follows up 5 times. That's a record. I haven't heard anyone that follows up 5 times so far. But if you're dealing with top of funnel, that attention piece on Meta, you have to follow up 11 times. 11 times. That's crazy. So,
Yeah.
all right. So back to you.
And
Who are the,
one other thing I want to say is that
yeah,
when you start learning how to do this stuff and you go on YouTube and the tutorials, whatever, a lot of them are based on e-commerce websites instead of home services, and
yes.
those things are very different. If you're selling something that's $100, that's very different than $100,000. So you can't expect to get 20,000 leads in 1 week with $1,000. You won't be able to service these leads, but yeah, you have to make sure you take that with a grain of salt when you're actually learning how to do this.
That's a very good point. Yeah, the YouTube University is awesome. We've learned that a lot of people learn from there, but it may not be applicable to your situation. You have to understand what works for local, right? And I find most of the marketers have never ever had a business, right? So they don't have any idea what you guys are going through on a daily basis. So anyway, so biggest influences early on: mentors, family, local role models. Who was your biggest influences early on?
Um, well, I think when I was growing up, like one of my favorite things to watch was HGTV, where you watch renovation shows, and there's Mike Holmes, Brian Ballmer, all those guys. They make things look so easy, and and it's so, oh yeah, like we need an electrician. Boom, electrician is here in an hour. So I definitely got influenced by that, by the process, watching them do it, and definitely the design aspect of it. So this was not kind of initially my career path. I have a marketing degree. So,
What?
uh, yeah, but then I realized after working in a corporate environment, it's like it wasn't really for me. I wanted to be project based, and I really enjoy the fact that with what I do, there's a start and a finish, and then you move on. So if you don't like the client, if you're not crazy about the scope of work, you know that it's just temporary. So that was kind of where I started to get an idea of I wanted to go on my own and do something in this space. But definitely working for other companies and other bosses. I worked for two other basement companies before I started my own. They were It was a great learning experience for sure. I kind of saw what works and also things that don't work that could be fixed. And I think I'm making the changes here that focus emphasizing more the stuff, fixing the mistakes that I saw in the other companies are doing.
Awesome. All right. Well, on that note, so you saw them, that was brilliant, by the way, absolutely brilliant to learn from somebody else who's doing the thing that you aspire to do. Like, I always tell my kids, and, my patients at the clinic was like, if you're looking at a career change, and many people do, apparently 5 career changes now in the next generation's lifetime, so, like, that's astonishing. How do you prepare for that? But if you wanna go do something, go find 10, or I love the Family Feud style, ask 100 people, survey said, and find out like 2 things. 1, what's the best thing about your job? And 2, what's the worst thing about your job or business, right? So in your case, you worked with them firsthand to find out what was good, what was bad. So that leads me right into my next question. Were there any services that you offered early on that you do not offer anymore, and why?
So I think early on, I was ready to do anything, work for, like, take on any client, and even take on lower scale jobs. And I found, so now I have a minimum. I try not to do anything less than $30,000. Um, Two things. First of all, obviously, there's the money aspect of it, where you make less fewer dollars, or the profit is lower when you do those jobs. But also, oftentimes those are also harder. You have to babysit those clients a bit more because they're usually smaller homes. So $30,000 is very subjective. So it could be a lot of money for one person. It could be pocket change for somebody else. So the overhead required from my end as the business owner is the same. Usually, when it's $30,000 or when it's $100,000, it's the same amount of visits. The design work is still there. So I prefer to not do the partial work. The oh, my basement is finished, but I need a kitchen, or I need to make it legal for rental purposes. Those are very tough jobs that don't pay much. So now that I'm more established, I try to go after the bigger clients.
Nice, nice. Okay. So On that same note, I mean, you kind of hit on it already, but like, what were some of the other biggest challenges you faced when you just got started? Like, what really stopped you up that you've overcome? Like, you said like when you started, you couldn't do those big projects, right? You had no
Right.
proof. So tell me about some of those early challenges, and then um, what you did about it
Yeah.
because you were just getting started.
So in the way my company's set up, most of the trades are subcontractors. So developing that network of trades is very,
Yeah.
very key for me. And I realized that you have to have you have to have great trades. But the most important thing is they have to be available. So just because you know a great plumber, it doesn't mean that you can call him and he's there tomorrow. So developing that network is key, and keeping them happy. So making sure that your communication is very clear. So over time, I'll learn how to communicate with my guys. With visuals, with videos, I'll be on site doing a video, sending it to them and say, "Hey, this is what I need from a plumber or from an HVAC guy." Um, doing a lot of, I do the design work myself, so the blueprints. So getting a process set up that these guys, they also don't want to come to a job site and stand there and look around, don't know what to do. So when I develop a system with them, getting them on the schedule is a lot easier. So I find that was a huge challenge for me that I think I've overcome at this point. And yeah, just
So
keeping that
how did
relationship
you
alive.
like, how did you learn how to because you gotta manage expectations with the customers, you gotta manage
Yeah.
expectations with the guys, you gotta manage the timeline, like, how do you do all that?
At first, you do it like in your head,
In your
and then
head,
you
okay.
realize that you just when I started. So I think in 2021, in that summer, I had 9 projects going at the same time, which can make you a bit schizophrenic. So now I have I take notes. I use different, I make alerts for myself on the phone. I try to get checklists going. So now I have a checklist of every project where I need to order baseboards. I need to deliver baseboards. I need to, give the client the samples that they need to choose. So systematizing things makes things a bit easier, and getting the trades, getting the alerts, getting them on the calendar is built into that system now. So when I have a new client, I go through my checklist just like a pilot does, and I make myself a calendar, and all the trades get their invites. Based on my blueprints, I can make a shopping list of all the materials that I need. So getting a system going that works for you is key. I think I have a system that works for me, but if I were to hire a project manager to replace me, it would be a very messy learning curve to explain
Uh,
how I do things, because it's my way. I don't think it's
right.
something that works for everybody. I think everyone has to have their own way of managing it.
Yeah, I picture, like, the whiteboard at a hospital, like, the timeline of the project
I
and how
tried that.
long it didn't work?
Well, it's so you have time, you have trades, and you have a client. So all those three need to
Right.
work together, but then you have multiple of these projects. So when I did that, I'll spend 2 hours planning a single project, and then I'll spend another 2 hours doing the second one, but they don't speak to each other. So you could have a trade that's scheduled in 2 different places on the same day. So
Uh,
doing it by
how do
hand
you
become
manage that? What do you do?
like I have I haven't found the perfect solution yet, to be honest. So
Ah,
I
okay.
use Google Calendar, and in my Google Calendar, I color code every project. So that way, I'm seeing where the if there's 2 items with the same color, okay, then we have a conflict. But I, I'm sure there's software out there that can solve it for me. I just usually that part of that software is so small that it's not worth it for me to get the entire suite. Where I don't want to pay $300 a month for this.
I got you, I got you. So that's a question. Everybody wants to know what software do you use and why, but I think more interesting than that, the guys are like, "Tell me about AI." Like, how are you using AI to solve challenges in your business, or are you yet? And or are you thinking of it? Like, what have you come up with so far?
So I was in February. I was down in Orlando for the International Builders Show, and they had a huge section of the show just for software. Obviously, AI was a huge part of it, and I talked to some of the guys in those booths. Um, it's great. I don't think I'm there yet with the scale of my business and the nature of my project. So a lot of the software is built towards bigger clients, builders that are building subdivisions, multiple houses, or just custom homes. Where I focus more on the renovation part of it, I don't think AI companies are yet focused on that. So personally, what I use is just the basic. I have Claude, I have Chat GPT. I use it mostly for content, for helping me with like TikTok descriptions or blog uh, blog posts, outlines, research. So basically, marketing at this point.
Awesome. Okay. And so, like, you haven't jumped into AI agents or automations in any way yet.
Not yet. It's a little scary to think about.
Why is it
I,
scary? Tell me, tell me.
well, I think that there's a lot of nuance to every project that I do. So when it comes to automation, every project is just so different that it's hard to automation kind of works on averages and making everything is repeatable. So for me, um, I find that it's very hard to find something that's repeatable for every single project. You get the clients are different. Even the physical setting of the project. Sometimes you can put a garbage bin on the job site. Sometimes you can't. Sometimes you can't even deliver everything at once because you don't have physical space in the basement. So there's so many nuances that just I think setting up the automation or learning how to do it is such a time investment that I'll look at it and think, man, the opportunity cost is too high. I'll just kind of keep going the way I'm going, and until something is presented to me that makes things a bit easier.
Got it. Got it. Yeah,
One
I think the
aspect of AI
adoption.
that I am looking into is wearable AI.
Oh,
So yeah, so you see those
oh,
little necklaces or pendants, and it's kind of listening to you all the time. So um, the use case for me would be having it on me. So when I'm doing estimates, when I'm talking to clients, that I have all that information recorded somewhere that I can reference later,
mm,
for both myself and for the client's sake. Because sometimes I will, just in the heat of the moment, you're having a conversation, and the client will ask you something, and oh yeah, we could do that for you, and then you get in the car, you get a phone call, you forget all about it, and then a month later, the client will bring it up, and you're standing there like, ooh, did I really say that? Did I promise that? I'm sorry, I completely forgot about it. So something like that I think would be great. It's kind of like having an assistant taking notes with you all the time. So that is something I'm exploring. Not necessarily I necessarily want to do because you are recording people, so there's legal aspects to that. But there are also times where, like with any clients, where I would tell them something, and then 3 months later they'll be, well, I didn't know this, and well,
mm.
I told you so. And you kind of
That
have
leads,
to
yeah.
prove your point, but that's secondary to this tool. That would be great.
No, it's really interesting. I totally get it. Now, this leads me right into my next question. Like, how do you handle mistakes or those unhappy customers? Like reputation is everything in
Yeah.
renovations. So, what's your secret to keeping happy customers happy? And then, as we know, the most important metric, like everyone who finds you is going to go to Bedrock Basements and search you on Google and find your
Yeah.
review. So, like, how do you get them to leave a review? How do you keep them happy? And how do you handle it if a job doesn't go perfectly? That's a huge one
Well,
for guys coming up.
yeah, I think the first thing to do is what I try to do is be very transparent with the client from the beginning and set expectations. So I'll give you an example. I go into a basement that is really old. Maybe it was finished in the 70s. And the client's asking, okay, I need to do full demolition. I need to rebuild it. How much is it going to cost? The real answer is I have no idea. I could give you a price when it's a newer home, when the basement's unfinished, where I could see the foundation and everything. When it's like this, well, we're gonna have to now do demolition, and we have to now see what's going on with your plumbing, with your foundation, with your electrical, with your HVAC, and how to bring it to current codes. So I think that's important. Number one, to be honest with the client, and to pretty much say, if you don't know, listen, I don't know. I'm not. Sometimes clients do get technical and ask questions about HVAC or plumbing, and you could say simply, listen, I don't know, but I know who does, and I can give you an answer. So I think clients really appreciate the transparency. I find that's number one. Number two, if you do make mistakes, and obviously, we're all human, we do that. Be honest and say, listen, yes, I made a mistake. I missed that. And then give them a solution.
It's tough, yeah, it's tough. It's tough
Yeah,
to admit that, like, guys are so, I don't wanna say, like, in a bad way, but just, like, ego driven. It's hard to say, like, I don't know," or "I'm sorry," or, like, everyone used to say to me, like, "If Karen doesn't know, she will find out." Like, she'll say it to you straight, and she'll just tell you like it is, but if she doesn't know, she'll actually tell you she doesn't know, and then she'll get back to you, and if she can't help you, she'll find someone, you know? So I think it's hard to get to that point. I think a lot of people never get to that point in their life, so it's hard to kinda swallow at first, right? It's like,
um,
alright, so that leads into, like, what's been the hardest season as a business owner, and how'd you push through?
I think right now the beginning of 2026 has been very challenging. Um, Simply, there's not a lot of folks shopping for home renovations, not just basements, but in general. I get now in April, I think we're coming out of it, hopefully, but I would get more calls with guys looking for work rather than potential clients.
Wow.
And that became very scary when you have plumbers and electricians that are looking for work. Those guys are usually always busy. Um, I think the real estate market has a huge effect on us in home renovations, especially high ticket home rentals. So real estate is not moving. People are not refinancing their homes. That that really slowed us down. So it was a bit scary for the first few months of this year for sure. And now with oil prices where they are, it's when you feel you're almost out. Now there's a new point of uncertainty, and that really scares the market.
It does, yeah. A lot of guys struggle with that yo-yo effect, but
Yep.
usually this is, like, coming in, what do they call it? Shoulder season? This is coming off shoulder season and into, like, the hot reno season, and if the economy's slow, you know, it affects everything. So on that
Yeah,
note, then
especially on
how do
an
you
optional item. Not everybody needs a finished basement. If you have a leaky roof, you're fixing the roof no matter what. But to finish a basement, it's an indulgence. It's not necessarily something that the client really needs done. So and it's a very expensive high ticket item. So it's one of those things where we're like, oh, let's like this year is not the time. Let's push it to next year, see what the rates are. So yeah, I'm definitely feeling it, the pressure from that end.
I hear you, and yeah, the interest rates and refinancing, like you said to me in the pre-podcast call, like, it's a third of your home. It's gonna cost money, like, it's a big expense, right? So how do you differentiate? What makes your business different from others in the area? Like, you obviously know what you're doing, you're obviously good at what you do, you're obviously good at managing the guys, you're obviously, have lots of experience, but, like, everybody says that. I'm the
Yeah.
best. I'm good at what I do. I take care of the customers. Like, what makes you the preferred choice in this era of stagnation?
I think when I'm talking to a client, when I'm getting to know them, I spend a bit more time educating them and talking less about how great we are, and they can find that out. I don't want to sound like the next guy, right? So they can do their research online and all of that. So I prefer to focus more on each basement. So some again, when I worked in the past for other companies, it was more of a sales pitch. Whereas now I come in and we kind of walk around the basement a bit more, and I'll point things out. I'm like, oh, what do you want to do with this? Oh, there's a pipe over here. Did you think about moving it because it's in the way of this and that? And sometimes a small comment like that can win the contract, because if
Mm,
there's and this is a real example I'm giving you here, where there's a gas pipe that's in the way of a door that they want to put in. And I tell the client, hey, like, you're getting other contractors here. Did they point this out? Like, this is, a few $100s to move. And they're like, no, they didn't. But like, you could see that we need to move it. Yes, I can see it. So even something like that, they'll get 10 estimates, but they'll remember you're the only guy that actually went into the little details. And I could be more expensive when I'm giving them the quote, because I am more thorough, I'm more transparent, and I tell them, well, you need to do this, you need to upgrade your electrical panel. So my price will be higher maybe, but my scope of work will be more inclusive, because they'll see, well, I'm going to have to do this anyway. Those other guys, they're just the salespeople of the company. They're not the owners or the project managers. So their job is to give you the best possible price, get their commission, and move on to the next one. Whereas with me, and this is I tell the clients all the time, you're dealing with me from day one, from the estimate all the way through the project. So I can't make promises that I can't deliver. And I think that gets that gets
that
clients
builds
sold.
trust.
It builds trust for sure,
Yep.
because they're looking at me and I've got, I'm the only person that the buck stops here. So there's no sales guy, there's no designer, there's no secretary. Here's my cell phone number. You deal with me directly. That being said, that creates another challenge where I can't grow as quickly as I want. I can't take 20 projects a month, but I don't have to hire all these other guys. So fewer clients, more attention. Um, that's kind of the model that I decided to go with, and that's part of my sales pitch to the client.
I love that, I love that. So walk me through what happens when you work with a client from start to finish. So someone finds you've got all this great content on social media, you're ranked in Google, you've got your GMB or GBP or whatever they called it now. People, I don't know why they changed the name, whatever, but they find you, or you're running meta ads or whatever you're doing, and they call you or they text you. Like, how do they first interact with you? Do they DM you on Instagram or Facebook, or like how does this happen? Do they fill out a lead form? So first
Yeah.
they
So
what happens? They get a hold of you. I heard that there's no receptionist. They start with you first thing.
so
So
they
what
either
how does
call
normally get a hold of you? They call?
there's a form on Facebook, there's a form on our website, they can just email, Instagram DMs, any of those.
Okay.
And I always, then I follow up with questions. So I'll ask things like, how old is the home? What exactly are we doing in the basement? Are you looking to do it for your own use, or are you looking to build it into a basement apartment? Because those are two very separate, very different things. When do you want to do it? That's also important. If somebody said, oh, I want to do it 2 years from now, like, we're in a different world. Who knows what's going to happen 2 months from now?
Yeah.
So I qualify them, basically.
Okay.
We'll call it that. And then if I find, okay, this is something I want to go after, then we set up a time to meet in person.
All right, so you call like so let's just say I'm somebody who I call Bedrock Basements. I get a hold of you, Dmitry, and I say, "Hey, like I've got this project," or I leave you a voicemail, or I fill out a form. Do you call me back, or what happens?
I'll
You just
usually
message
use the
me?
same channels that you
Okay.
reached out. So if you email me, I'll email you
Okay.
back. If you're calling me, you already have me on the phone. We'll do that right there and then, and we'll
Okay.
we'll have that conversation. Yeah.
And then what happens? So you finish qualifying me, you see if it's a project you wanna take on, and then what happens? Do you come to the house? Do you
Yeah.
call me back, or what
No,
does that look like?
usually, again, if I have you on the phone, we'll do it all at the same time. Where I'll say, okay, well, you're in Richmond Hill. I'll open up my calendar and I'll say, how about, I give you a time, and we work out a time to meet. Usually, it takes about an hour, and then I come out in person.
You don't get them to send pictures or anything like that first?
No,
Nope.
Uh,
Okay. Just go out and
so
visit.
usually, I know the area, like the GTA, quite well at this point. So I know the kind of homes there are all over the place, and yeah, I'll ask all the right. I'll say, is it a detached home? Is it what's the size of the house? So I know what I'm getting myself into, and the answers usually will not change whether I'm coming out or not. It could
Okay.
be a 4,000 square foot mansion or a 1,200 square foot townhouse. I'm still coming to see the basement in person. So I don't,
Okay.
pictures don't do much for me at that
Okay.
point. I want to see it in person.
Okay. So you go and you visit. So you come to my
Yep.
house and I take you down to the basement and then you do it sounds like you do like a walk around and you point out any well, you get
Yeah,
the scope
usually I
of
let the
what I want
client
done.
I let the client lead the conversation. I'll say, look, okay, here's your base. What do you want to do here? Like, I'm sure you called me for a reason.
Right.
So to your buying a car analogy, if you walk into a dealership, they'll ask you, do you want a minivan, a pickup truck, or a sports car, right? So I'll ask them, okay, what do you want to do here? They have, this is your basement. Tell me what is the plan. So I'll let the client do a walkthrough, and usually they'll have an idea. I want a bedroom here. I want a bathroom here. I want a bar over here. Um, I need some storage, etc. Sometimes they don't have ideas. They'll just say, "Well, you tell me what you want to build," and then again, I'm like, "Well, what do you need the basement for? Are you somebody going to live here? Is this an entertainment area?" Um, so there's a lot of prodding going back and forth. And then we look at the actual basement and see what is physically possible, right? We're working within the constraints of the walls and the utilities of the basement, right? We have furnace rooms, we have water tanks, the windows are smaller, the ceilings are lower height. So we have to go with the wish list against the reality and see what we could build where.
Okay, so you do a walkthrough with me. You get my vision, what I want to have done, and then
Mhm.
do you give a quote on the spot? Do you do a 3D design? Do you like leave and come back? Do you call me later? Like what happens next?
So usually I will measure the basement very quickly. I just need the square footage. I have a an Excel template that I use that I go through as I'm talking to the client and I'm filling it out. So square footage, number one, but also, do we have a bathroom? Yes or no? What kind of bathroom? What kind of shower? Are we doing pot lights? If so, how many? How many doors do we need? Do we need a kitchen? Do we need a bar? So I go, it's an extensive Excel sheet, but because I design it, I kind of fly through it quite fast. Within about 10 minutes, usually I can have a quote ready. Now, sometimes if the client is not sure about the design, like they're, "Oh, I'm not sure if I want to do the bedroom here or the bedroom there," and if it's a substantial job, if it's, say, $80,000 and above, I will actually stay and I will do a design, and then I will provide the quote. So that helps me with my own calculations. Those are harder to calculate. But when I start doing my design, it'll tell me um, more precisely how many sheets of drywall I need, how much flooring I need. So my quote could be more competitive. Number one. Number two, it's a higher end client, so they expect a certain level of service. So I provide them the design. Usually, my design work starts when I have a deposit from the client, but I do make exceptions, and
Okay.
that's the beauty of doing it myself.
So you don't like you're in my house, you're in my basement, you do your measure, we talk about what we want. I say I want this amazing laundry room. It has to be functional. I want a
Yeah.
sewing room on the side. I want all this stuff. Just kidding. Whatever it is. I'm guessing it's, either family use or like an ensuite for my aging parents or something like that, right? So
Right.
I say all that, and then, like, do you do a 3D rendering so I can see what it might look like, and then give me a quote on the spot, or you come back with that? Like,
I use
what?
pictures.
Oh,
So I
okay.
have an extensive, I bring my laptop with me, obviously. So if in your case you want a laundry room, I'll say, all right,
Yeah.
describe this laundry room. Are there cabinets? Are there countertops?
Right,
And I can
right.
pull up past projects and I'll show them, oh, what do you think of this? What do
Ah,
you think of that?
okay.
And that will get an idea for me for price wise. And I'll tell
Ah,
them if I show them a fancy laundry that has, quartz countertops and all of that, and
holding
I'll start
station,
asking.
the whole thing, nice
Yeah,
nice
usually I
place
start
to
talking
hang.
about budgets at
Yeah,
that
yeah.
point where if
Okay.
client, is talking really nice stuff, okay, well, this is really nice, but what do you want to spend here? Because what you're showing me is a $10,000 laundry, but you have $30,000 budget for the basement. That's not going to happen. So I, I I do start talking about budget usually in during the estimate. I'd like to get an idea of where the client is in their shopping
Their taste and their
process.
budget. Yeah, yeah, because they don't always mesh.
Yeah, and also yes, there's a lot of champagne taste and beer budget these days, but
Yes.
also how educated they are in terms of what the market rates are. So the
Uh,
worst for me is when I'm the first company to come out and give an estimate because the
mm,
clients sometimes have no clue. They expect to hear $60,000 and I tell them 100, and right away they have a bad association with me that he's crazy expensive, he's overpriced. But I could be at the end of the day I could be the lowest price that they're gonna get. So
but how do you
I like
handle
to
that? Do you tell them, like, do you explain I love that champagne budget and what did you say?
champagne taste beer budget.
Beer budget, yeah, champagne
Yeah.
taste, beer budget, I love that, that's so good because I find, like, my ex is a contractor and it was always hard. Communication's one thing, expectations is another thing, but, like, understanding what they wanna pay and what they wanna have is actually another thing.
So I try to flush that out in our phone call.
Mm.
Um,
In the first
so
phone
I
call.
will, yes, because
Okay.
I don't want to waste my time
Fair.
with expensive gas prices and distances that I need to travel. So if on the phone they start telling me their all the stuff they want to do, I'll simply ask, oh well, like what do you want to invest in this? What is your budget? And if right away they tell me, oh, it's 40% less than I'm going to quote, I'll say, listen, I don't think that's realistic. Did you get quotes for this price? If the answer is yes, usually that means they're shopping based on price, and they're not. They might have gotten a quote that low, but they're not looking what's above that number, because there's contractors that are not as transparent and as honest as I try to be. So they will lowball you, and then that's how you end up on a TV show where the contractor started and he never came back.
Do it right.
Um,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, because they're
Yeah.
just they're attracted by that price. Construction and renovation is such a low barrier to entry industry that guys come into it. They really want to work, so they give much lower prices. They don't really know what they're doing, and then once they start working, they realize, oh man, I can't make money here. I'm going to lose money on this job, and then they either start increasing the price to the client or they simply just leave. So
Right.
a bit of education and explaining things where we are in the market today. I do get pushback where clients say, "Oh, you're too expensive." Like, well, expensive again is relative. So just because you think I'm too expensive for you, that's fine. But if I were too expensive, I would be out of business.
Yeah, what do people think, like, a basement costs? Like, what's the average price that someone thinks it's gonna be? But then when you start talking to them and they want this and that and the other, they want recessed cabinets with down lighting
Yeah.
and display cases for their, I don't know, plates collection from 1975 or whatever. Like, what I don't know, whatever I'm talking boomers here, but, like, what is it that they think it's gonna cost? Like, and then
So
what does it
usually
actually cost?
people they go by per square foot price. So that's when folks are homeowners are doing research, they will look, oh, what does a basement cost finish per square foot? Um, but that is not the way it really works, because a just to give you an example, a 400 square foot basement with a three-piece bathroom will cost a lot more per square foot than 1,000 square foot with the same bathroom, because that bathroom is a fixed cost. So if it's $10,000 for the bathroom and we're dividing it by 400 feet versus 1,000 feet, right away there's a huge difference. So an average per square foot cost goes down the bigger the basement is, the bigger the job.
Interesting.
So
Interesting.
it's very deceiving, right? So you can also have a smaller basement with a bunch of doors because they want a lot of rooms, versus a big space, open space where there's two or three doors. So it's and doors, people don't understand, are expensive. You're looking at like $500 to $600 a door, installed, painted, door jams, door hardware, and all of that. So people think an average basement cost is around $50 to $60 a foot. Um, I tell them they're a little bit off. That's maybe prices from about 3 or 4 years ago.
Oh,
These
geez.
days, if you're looking at an average size basement, which is about 800 square feet, so 800 square feet is a 2,500 square foot house. Your basement is not exactly a third; it's a little bit less than a third because of the garage. Um, so an 800 square foot basement, you're probably in for somewhere around the $65 to $70 a foot for a finished space with a three-piece bath. Now, if you want to add bars, kitchens, fireplaces, accent walls, built-ins, it just goes up and up from there.
Right, right, right. So if someone was to like, I don't know, I get this a lot from guys like, give me a ballpark, give me a ballpark. Like,
Yeah,
obviously there's so many variables, but I feel like homeowners, because of the economy, because of everything that you just said, because of, you know, not refinancing their house because interest rates went up, all this stuff, right? They're like, give me a ballpark. Do you respond to that? Do you say like, the average basement cost is
yeah.
50 grand, or the average basement cost is 100 grand, or if you're looking for a premium finish, it's 100 grand, and you're looking for like basic finishes, and we're not ripping up
So
the floors to
my
put in a
response,
bathroom, like 50K. Like, do you do that ballpark business?
yes. So if they ask me that usually it'll be over the phone that
Right,
that
right.
question will be raised.
Early
So
on.
first thing in
Yeah.
my mind is I'm not going in person to this job because um, they're not there
Ah,
yet. Okay.
interesting.
So, but if I will spend some more time and ask them a bit more questions. Yeah, I'll give you a ballpark. Tell me, how big is the house? Is the basement finished or unfinished? What are you looking to do? Is it, oh, I'm looking for rent it out. Okay. Do you need an entrance? Yes, I do. Then there's a million questions about the entrance. Are we digging it out? Are we just cutting a hole up on the ground level? So, um, based on those,
What's the
then I just
grading
give them a
like?
range.
Yeah, what's the grading like? Yeah.
And yeah, it also makes them realize a little bit that it's not an average thing because you know no one is average. Every basement, every house is different. So I will give them a range at that point. Okay, I'll say, oh,
Awesome.
you're looking at somewhere between $80,000 and $100,000, but there's so many variables here. I won't know exactly until you have permits in place that will actually give us the full scope of work, and that's the honest answer.
Yeah.
But
But they don't want to hear
if
it.
I
They
get
just want to know the price. Give me a ballpark.
yeah, and that's where I end the conversation. I don't I don't come out and give spend time on giving an estimate because they're not at the buying stage yet. They're exploring.
Mm, gotcha. So when do you decide to come out to the house? What's the deciding factor?
It's a feeling from the client. So if they know what they want. So if I start asking them questions and they're giving me direct answers, like what's the size of your basement? What are you looking to do with it? And I will ask what is your budget. If they give me a price that I think is within, let's say, 20% of where I'm going to be, then it's a project I want to visit. Sometimes I don't talk about price because it gets a little bit sensitive. I'll still come out if, let's say, you're in my area. If I don't need to drive 2 hours one way to see you, then I'll come out and I'll invest that hour of my time to meet with you and hopefully gain some trust and get the deal.
Nice. All right. Well, I don't think there's anything else that we need to go through today. I think we explained to the people watching what they can expect if they were working with you, and how you operate and how you're different than everybody else. So, is there anything else you wanted to add? I think you gave a great overview of what working with you looks like.
Um, I would just tell homeowners, if they're shopping around for such a high ticket item like a basement finishing, that they do their due diligence, do a lot of research. Um, don't look at price as the deciding factor. Considering it, just like when you're buying a home, your price is important, but you're never buying the cheapest house on the market. You want to buy a house that's in the area that you want to live at, that works for you. So you want to make sure that when you're selecting a contractor, don't be don't look at price as the deciding factor when you're shopping for this, because it's a
So
huge investment.
so what should they look at as a deciding factor?
It's got to be the overall package. So obviously, price should play into that role. But back to the car analogy, if you have a bunch of kids and you're taking them to hockey practice, you're not buying a Porsche. So you want to make sure that you can what the contractor's offering you works for you, is giving you the solution that you need for the basement, that the price works, and that frankly that you get along with them because you're in there for a few months. So there's going to be a relationship there. Can you deal with this guy for for the next 3 months? And uh, is this somebody that you can trust with 100,000 of your dollars? Um,
That's actually something
that
we
I think
didn't
is
talk
important.
about is how long the average basement reno takes.
On average, 6 to 8 weeks.
6 to 8 weeks? Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Alright, anything else we need to add?
No, I think I'm good.
I think I'm good too. Alright, well, I appreciate you coming on and being real about, even just how to get those first jobs and going after big projects when you're brand new with no proof and leads and customers and keeping people happy and reviews and pipeline management and like trades management. It's easy to pretend that everything is perfect, but the guys listening to this need to hear the truth about the business side. So, where can people find you if they want to see your work? What's your website?
We're at bedrockbasements.ca.
Awesome. And you can find all the links in the description below, whether you are watching this on YouTube or listening on Apple or Spotify. So if you would like to be a guest on our podcast, email us at therenoring@gmail.com. Until next time, happy shopping, and we will see you on the next episode.